So to get back on point, the relationship for me lasted about 6 years. It was always a tumultuous love-hate, off and on kind of a relationship, and she was a habitual liar. I mean, compulsive liar, and for them, they take lying to a whole new low. There's a term called gaslighting, where it's not just lying, but you can put a videotape evidence of something in front of them, and they will still deny it. And that's when you start. I'm sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead.
That's when you start doubting and questioning your own ability to think for yourself. Because it's like, okay, I see what I'm seeing, but she's swearing to me that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing right in front of me. And it's so abusive, and it's so damaging because they do it slowly over time. I remember one incident with my ex that the details don't even really matter. She did something. I knew she had done it, and when I questioned her about it, she literally swore on her nephew's life that she had not done it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, she must not have done it. But yet I knew she did. It was too obvious. But she continued to lie about it, and even to the point of swearing on her nephew's life. I just know for me, I could never do that.
That's
so I
horrible.
think, it is. And then what happens to you is you think, okay, I must be crazy. And so, I look back on it now, and once you're away from it, you get a much clearer picture. But when you're involved in it, and I'm a guy that believes in kind of the fairy tale relationship, and I take my vows very serious, and I'm kind of a hopeless romantic, I guess. And they're convincing. So you want to believe them. You want to believe that they're being honest, and you want to believe that they want to change and all that stuff. And it just chips away at you, and you get lower and lower. And by the end of it, I didn't know what to believe. I just didn't. She had multiple affairs. She lied to me on a regular basis. I got to where I couldn't. She was very, very meticulous about our home, which I appreciated and enjoyed at first. But it got to a point where I felt like I was in prison in my own home. I was afraid to touch anything because I could never put it back right. If I poured a glass of iced tea, I couldn't do it right. If I spilled a drop on the counter, I would have to deal with her. Even if I'm going to wipe it up myself, just everyday normal stuff. They treat you like it's not okay to be human, But then they'll turn around the next day and treat you like a king or a queen, And it's so confusing. I was a twisted mess. So I think I've kind of bounced around there a little bit. How are we doing so far? Am I giving a good picture? Or?
Oh, yes, definitely, man, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Please continue. I think the people that's listening are going to really get something out of this.
Okay, well, good. I guess I'm not being overly specific. I'm just kind of giving a general picture. But another thing that would happen is like I would get to a point with her that I'd think, okay, this is enough. It's not ever going to change. Because looking back, she never kept one single promise. Every promise she made to me, and she made hundreds, maybe thousands, she broke every one of them. But each time I wanted to believe her so bad, and my love was genuine, and I wanted it to work. And then she would, if they have to pour on tears, they pour on tears. If they will play whatever role they need to, and they're extremely good at reading people and knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it. At times they'll be seductive if they need to. They'll be the, broken little girl that needs to be rescued at other times.
My goodness!
She was good at that.
I'm telling you, man. Listen, y'all. This man knows what he's talking about. I'm telling y'all right now. Listen to this man. There's some real stuff he's talking. I know from personal experience.
Me too.
It don't get no realer than what he's saying right now. I promise you. Please continue, Trenton.
Okay. Yeah, and that's I've studied, and I just want to say my only knowledge about this is just through my personal experience and then reading afterwards to try to understand. So I don't have a degree. I don't have any of that. I just have my experience. I'm just an everyday guy. But I studied it extensively and became almost obsessed for a while to understand. And they use that tactic, this push-pull tactic. And it's used, I've discovered it's used in the world of sales. It's a very effective tool. Push-pull. Push you away and then pull you back and reel you back in. And it's a constant thing of doing that. And it's all part of their conditioning. I had just thinking about a couple random experiences. She would text me throughout the day or phone calls and say all this great stuff, tell me how much she missed me and how she couldn't wait to see me that night and, couldn't wait till I got home and all this stuff. And I'm getting excited, I'm looking forward to seeing her. And I'm thinking, by this point, if there's not World War III in my house that night, it's a good day, So now I'm getting excited. Hey, she's in a good mood. And everything, over time, it centers around them. They control the mood, the atmosphere constantly. They decide if you're going to be happy or sad or whatever it is. And so she would send me these texts throughout the day, and I'd pull in my driveway excited to walk into my house and see her. And I'd walk in the door, and she would be completely different. It's like she never sent me those texts, like she wouldn't acknowledge I even walked in the door. And then when I would try to talk to her, she acted like I was annoying her. And so when I would question her, say, hey, what happened? Did something happen? And it's like they don't even acknowledge those text messages they've sent you or the things they've said to you all day. And then when you start to question them, then the fight is on. And you're standing there just scratching your head trying to figure out what the hell just happened here. And, I just constantly walking on eggshells. She would do everything she could to make me feel jealous. I was not a jealous person, but she created so much mistrust and so much doubt in the relationship that pretty soon I don't trust her, and I am feeling jealous. And then when I show that, instead of recognizing how she had created that atmosphere, now I become the bad guy. They seem to turn the tables in every situation, and they completely avoid responsibility in any of it. And then what made it even more confusing with her, there were times when she would acknowledge it, and she'd say, yes, I do that, I'm so sorry, and she would say all the right stuff, beg me to forgive her and to give her another chance. And so then you feel good about it again. And then you give her a chance, the next day she would repeat the same behavior, and then all of a sudden it's like she never apologized for it. And I would question her, and she'd say, well, I always have to tell you what you want to hear. So everything she told me yesterday just went right out the window. And it just, I'm telling you, it's like being in a whirlwind of emotion and confusion. And this happened with me over that 6-year period. It was a daily thing, definitely weekly. The whole cycle of abuse, the honeymoon phase, and all that happens. It's just such an ugly process, and I get exhausted just thinking back on it.
I know you do. What was it like? How did you find the strength and courage to finally part ways and be okay? Because I know it. You were saying that she kept pulling you back, and you ended up going back after y'all had y'all situations. It looked like it was about to be over. Then she would find a way to reel you back in.
Yes. What
gave you that motivation and the courage to finally be done and not get sucked back in again?
We got married in 2010 after we dated and lived together, and then we got married in 2010. In 2012, I caught her having an affair with a guy in town, and I ended it then. But even after that, she was able to pull me back in, something I never thought I would do. But she was able to pull me back in, and so we started supposedly working on the relationship. And she literally begged me to take her back. And I didn't want to, but then she found the right buttons to push and how to convince me to do it. So I did. I took her back. And then, so that was 2012 that I caught her in that affair and had ended it. Well, then we wind up back together, and then in 2013? It wasn't long after I had taken her back, and I thought we're working on the relationship, that she started yet another affair. You already feel like a fool to take them back after a situation like that. But even during that time, it's like, affairs can happen. I understand that. But there's in order to work the relationship out, certain elements have to be there. The person that had the affair, I think, has to be willing to do certain things if they're sincere. And she never really was willing to do those things, to rebuild the trust and that sort of thing. And ultimately, she has this other affair with a coworker, and she literally just, the discard phase, it was there. By this time, I had her figured out. They talk about the mask. Their mask slips off enough times that you are no longer convinced. You don't buy any of their promises. You don't believe their lies anymore. And at this point, I no longer trusted her or believed her. I knew the truth about her. And so then it was time for her to discard me. So she found this coworker. She starts an affair. And as painful as it was, I just said, I can't live like this anymore. And from that point, unlike in the past, she was no longer trying to pull me back in because she had a new target. And that's what they do. They'll bounce on to the next target once you've got them figured out.